You're watching It's Life Live with your hosts, Juan Lee and Oliver Marcel. Come join us for enriching, enlightening, encouraging, and thought-provoking conversation. Let's go. What's up, everybody? What's going on?
Hey Oliver, what's happening? You know, one day we're gonna figure out how Instagram works.
I meant to hit you up earlier, but we'll be ready for next. We'll be ready for next week. I didn't get a chance to hit you up earlier, but yeah, we'll.
I was like, because I scheduled it and I put it, and I'm like, why,
Yeah,
why?
and just side note, shout out to the folks at StreamYard. We just got it. Well, it's not even StreamYard. Shout out to the folks at Meta. We got to make this process easier so that we can stream to Instagram. But that's a side note.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah. But
we
I'm
just
just
put
like,
that out there.
wow.
Yeah.
But I'm like, and I'm well, we're not even gonna go there. Welcome everybody. Welcome. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the like button, and thank you for being here with us this evening. We appreciate it. We're here every Wednesday night. My name is Juan Lee, and that's Oliver Marcel. We are here to serve you tonight, and we have a guest that's going to be here with us shortly. But before we get started, we're going to do some house cleaning. And the thing about it is, we want to share with you something that is we're very excited about, just to put this right up front, and that is our next webinar. We are from Clear Journey, and we are here to tell you about our new webinar, which is going to be on April the 20th. It is learning how to protect your finances. Okay. It is a webinar. We're going to have a consumer protection person there and a cyber security expert. And we're going to be here helping you learn how to safely protect your finances. Now, we've been talking about this finances thing for the last all 4 months now. And we've been talking about how to get the finances, how to, earn more money, how to get budgeting and stuff like that. But once we get it, we got to learn how to keep it. And today is going to be very interesting because I think one of the things that our guest is going to be sharing with us is a method or a process of how to do that. But that is what we're looking forward to. So by all means, go over to clearjourney.org and register. And when you're over there, you will have the opportunity to receive a free ebook. The ebook is called How to Budgeting Made Easy. Okay, so that will be there for you to, all you have to do is say you want it and it's yours. It'll be sent to you and you can have access to read through that. And so we just want you to understand that you can hold the control of your finances, and we want you to take these resources that we have for you so that you can be your very best in reaching your potential with your finances. In addition to that, just to tell you a little bit more about Clear Journey, while you're over there, you'll learn that we are here to help you navigate life successfully in 8 areas of life. And we're here to give you education and resources so that you can be all that you can be your very best you. Okay. Be, in every area of your life. We want to help you prevent some obstacles. And if you're in some things, hopefully we can help you navigate out of them. So that's what we're here for. We want you to come back, join us, be a part of our community. Go to clearjourney.org and become a part of our community. We look forward to seeing you here. Anything else, Oliver, before
I,
we bring our guests on?
I think that's it. I just want to again stress the importance of being a part of this webinar. Number one, it's free, and the kind of information, the caliber of guests, the environment, the things that you will take away from this is not always synonymous with the word free. So it would behoove you to take advantage of this. It does not happen often in the world that individuals are willing to just hand you information. Often there's some kind of catch, there's some kind of exchange that takes place. The only thing you have to pay is attention. Only thing you have to do is take notes. And so make sure that you register for this webinar. It is something that Clear Journey is doing because of Clear Journey's love for humanity and its desire to see you win in every area of your life. So be there. I want to see you there.
Yep. Hey, that's what it's all about. And the more we can have people aware of what we're here to do, and that is to basically to serve you. That's what we're here to do. And so we want to give you every opportunity so that you can navigate life more successfully. And I tell you, in this day and time, you know, where people are trying to take what's not theirs, we need to be more so aware of how to navigate this medium that we're on, this internet, in a way that we can be secure. You know, it's not as much as it used to be. You have somebody had to actually come to your house to try to take your stuff. No, not anymore. They can be nowhere around, and you can wake up and your stuff be gone. Yeah. So, but that's what we're here for. All right. So we're not going to be the doom and gloom, but we look forward to you being there. And by the way, if anyone is here from my meetup group, thank you for joining us, for coming over. I appreciate you being here, and along with the people on Facebook, Instagram, not Instagram, but I'm sorry about you, Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. By all means, sign up for our YouTube channel. We really would appreciate you signing up for our YouTube channel. So with that being said, and we're going to introduce our guest, and it's going to be a short introduction because I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he is a person that I have run across recently, and it's something that we have in common because he brought up this book that I had run across maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, and the book was called How Money Works, and he's going to be here to tell us about how he's come involved with this program, and about how you can get involved also with the program and be able to navigate life more successfully with your financials. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Michael Rayford.
What's going on, brothers? How you doing?
What's happening, man? Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Man, I'm sitting in the background just getting my laugh on.
Getting your laugh on. All that stuff was serious stuff you was listening to. What you talking about?
You having issues with Instagram? What's going on with that?
It won't. When you go live on StreamYard, you have to go live separately with Link or with Instagram after you go live on StreamYard. So that means you got to go back out of StreamYard to go live on Instagram, and it has a security code that you have to put in, and every time you put it in, it disappears when you don't go live at the time you set up the post.
That sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
It is a lot. It is a lot of work. Instagram was the last to get on board with allowing third-party streaming platforms to stream directly to Instagram, and so they finally gave in, but they gave in with a catch. They're like, you got to jump through all these hoops first, before we'll actually let it happen. So you got to get a stream key from there. And then you got to come over here, set it up. Then you got to go back in, put the stream code. Then when you go live, then you got to go live here. Then you got to go back over there and go live. It's like, man, it's crazy.
It's a lot of red tape, man.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's
Don't give up. Don't give up.
Nah, hopefully they'll get the hint and they'll start changing it and making it simpler.
Absolutely.
Everything else changes so quickly. Why can't they change this quickly?
Yeah, they held out. They held out for a long time. They wanted to keep it in-house. And they wanted you to have to go on their platform to go live, and people have been complaining for eons, and finally,
it's all about control.
Yeah. So
you guys doing all right?
Yes, sir, man. Excited to gain the wisdom that I know you're going to bring.
Now, Oliver, I must say, this one had nothing to do with you, but Oliver, your background is hitting. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Thank
it has a real mood to it. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh.
And he has a radio voice too.
Yeah, it's set up for, and you'll hear more about what I do, but it's set up for what my wife and I do. in the relationship building space. So
That's
I
all right.
appreciate that.
That's
Means a
all
lot.
right. You got to step your game up, Juan Lee.
Hey, man! I've told you, I'm like the person that they don't want to hear about from no way. I just happen to be here.
That's a good thing, man.
Yeah, well,
Always in the space.
Hey, so then, Michael, then tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself to the audience, and let us know how you got involved with what you're doing.
Okay, absolutely. So the name is Michael Rayford. I'm a How Money Works educator. I taught college for 17 years, higher education, and just thought that I was the man because I was a college professor. But quickly learned my plan was to teach. I was an adjunct, but to teach until they offer me a tenure position. But when you're a higher education professor, they don't retire. They will keep you, and you keep that job until they basically push you out. So I never got offered that opportunity. So like most people, worked several jobs simultaneously, worked for a nonprofit for about 7 years. And that's how I got introduced to How Money Works, because I was doing, you guys have heard of the Urban League, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was working for an affiliate. I was doing credit counseling. I was a housing counselor. So I was helping people with credit. I was helping people get into their homes, their very first home. I was helping people who were going through foreclosures and looking at all this pertinent information, but really didn't understand it to its fullest extent. And then one of my clients, I was giving a workshop, one of my clients said that, you know what, I'm involved in something I think you'd be really good at. And so she introduced me to her neighbor who was a financial educator. And so I did my due diligence. And during the time as a college adjunct, I knew I needed something else. Like this was not going to cut it. I needed a way to make more money, but also to control my future. And being introduced to the money game, the financial industry, was that door opening for me. And as I learned more and more about the financial industry, it blew my mind on what I did not know. I learned how, like when I was in high school, I had friends who during Christmas break the family was going to Hawaii. Parents were lawyers, doctors, accountants, whatnot. And you sit back and you wonder, how do they do this every year? How do they do this all the time? Well, now I've figured out how they did this because they had relationships with financial people. They learned how money works. So even though they had a good career, they learned how to use their money to make more money, to make their money work for them. And so this was 2014, I got introduced to it. Been doing this ever since. But my thing is, we're on a crusade for financial literacy. And as you guys know, April is National Financial Literacy Month. And so the cause is what got me first and foremost, because I figured out what I didn't know, and I just felt a responsibility to teach other people how this information works. I'm an educator. I've been an educator for almost 20 years. Mm-hmm. And so it's my responsibility to get this information, but then also share it with people as well. And so that's how I got involved. And I've been doing this. I don't see myself ever stop doing this because it's so important. But it's also, once you learn how money works, you can, if you learn the right information and use the vehicle the way it's meant to be used, you can get rid of a 9-to-5.
Okay.
Right.
Well, I mean, ideally, that's one of the things that it's interesting that you say that. On the front of your book, the book that you hear, and I'll show it to everybody if you can see that. It says in the circle, it says, "Stop being a sucker." What does that mean? What does that mean? Stop being a sucker.
Well, let me ask you a question. And I'm sure you guys have bank accounts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to the bank, and probably not so much today because of the pandemic, things have changed. Like, we go through the drive-through, but getting our money is instant now. We use our phones and whatnot. But think about before the pandemic, you would go in the bank, cash your check, but you would wait in line. But as you wait in line, once you got up to the teller, what was sitting there in a bowl for you?
Those suckers.
They were suckers. And so here it is, the bank is using your money to reinvest to build their financial legacy, and yet they give you an interest rate of 0.01, but then you also get a sucker as well. So the key is, once you learn how the financial industry works, you can stop becoming a sucker. Now, have you ever heard of Smarties before?
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Smarties and those dumb suckers are made by the same company.
Wow. Okay. I hear you. I hear you. I
Mhm.
hear you. Watch out there now. I hear
Yeah.
you.
So the key is, once you learn how money works, you can stop being a sucker.
And eat some of them Smarties. I got you. I
And
got
excuse
you.
me just a second. I gotta plug my charger up. I'll be right back. Okay, give me just a
Sure.
second.
Indeed. Yeah, it's so important, man. I appreciate the fact that we've spent so many weeks talking about this topic, because for some people it's common knowledge, and for many other people it is not common knowledge, and we need to close that gap. Right? I was having a conversation with a finance person just yesterday, I think it was.
I tell you, I'm messing you up now. I'm sorry
No
about that.
worries, no worries, no worries. You got it.
Yeah, pull yourself up. There you go.
Yeah, it was having a conversation with a finance person and yesterday, and just talking about the same thing. Just just understanding how money works, understanding the fact that there are a lot of people who, because often we have this mindset sometimes when we look at people who are very wealthy, and just like, hey, listen, man, they had a leg up, and they had an advantage that we don't have, and to some degree, and in some cases that may be true, but there's some people who actually learned how it works, worked it well, and got where they got. Right? We don't know anything about that process. We see the front facing results of that, and we just think that that's how it always was. And for a long time there were many of us who weren't privy to the process. Now, because of people like Michael and others, this process is readily available, and now it's just a matter of us tapping into it and executing, learning and executing. So I definitely appreciate I appreciate that.
Let me with that being said, let's get a little bit into the book that you talked so much about. And one of the things that was in the book is talked about the seven money milestones. Tell us what those money milestones are and how they can help you get to that independence that you were talking about, that financial security and independence, where you can leave that 9 to 5.
Absolutely. So this is a process that we take everyone through, whether you come to a workshop, whether you do a one-on-one, whether you attend a Zoom class, but there are 7 pertinent steps. So step number 1 is financial education. And that's what we always lead with, because you have to have the information. If you don't understand the information, you can't go any further. So once you get educated, the next step is protection. And protection is that word that is synonymous with life insurance. However, most people don't like to talk about life insurance, because what do you think about when you think about life insurance?
Death.
Think about death.
Death.
Mhm.
However, the life insurance industry has changed, just like this thing right here has. So I remember having a pager.
Mhm.
I remember having my very first cell phone was the big flip phone, but it has evolved into this thing where we can do about 25, 30 different things on. And that's how life insurance has changed, right? Life evolves. So life insurance is today where you can use it while you're living, and you can do multiple things with it. So once you learn how life insurance works, and most people think that there's only one type of life insurance, but there are multiple kinds of life insurance. So you have to understand that part first and foremost. But then we go into emergency fund. And right now, there's a large percent of the population who, if they had a $400 emergency, they'd have to go to the credit card or go to a payday loan establishment. They'd have to go somewhere to handle that emergency. So the suggestion is, and especially the pandemic made this real obvious, we need to have minimum 3 to 6 months of our expenses or our income set aside where we don't touch it, because it's there for in case you get sick, you lose your job, you have an emergency, you've got those funds available to you, so you don't need to use a credit card. Then we go into debt management. So when we think about debt management, how many people are you paying? Credit card, car payment, mortgage, you name it. How many people are you paying? But we want to reduce that as much as possible. Now, I know we were talking about Instagram earlier, and you may hear some people say debt is good. Some debt is good, but if you don't know the difference between good debt and bad debt, then that's a problem. But once you can reduce that, then you can start using that additional income to now, whether it's to help fund your emergency fund or to start investing as well. And then we think about cash flow. So where do we get cash flow from? So if you reduce your debts, that could be an increase on your cash flow, or it could be a side hustle. It could be, some people did Uber. I mean, I would never do Uber, but you have to figure out what type of side hustle you have, or what skill do you have that can now generate income for you to increase the cash flow. So
can you before you go further, can you explain what cash flow really is?
Yeah, it's how much money do you have coming in the house in multiple different ways. So you'll hear those who are wealthy talking about 7 or 8 different streams of income. So that could be from investments, it could be from additional job, it could be from a different hustle. But just as you have debts and you're paying multiple people, you need to have multiple things, assets, cash producing assets that are paying you. So, there are a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who are, whether they're day traders, whether they're investors, whether they're real estate investors, they have multiple properties. Well, they have income streams coming from multiple different places that are paying them. So once you get to a level where you think about if it takes you $3,000 a month to take care of your living expenses, once your cash flow on a consistent basis is above that $3,000, you technically don't need a 9-to-5 anymore, because your income streams are producing that cash flow for you. So it's a mental shift. Like, we've been trained, and this is where I get conflicted sometimes, because as a college professor, and this is what I was told too, go to college, get a good degree, get a good job, find a company that's going to offer you a pension, right? However, we know that there's a large percentage of the population where they went to school, got a lot of student loan debt, but the degree that they got, the income for that industry is nowhere near the student loan debt that they've acquired. Mm-hmm. So now they're working from day one after they graduate to stay out of debt, right? And then once we pass cash flow, now it's time to build wealth. And this is where the investing comes into play. And this is the whole stock market piece, right? And so once you do that, you've built up all these assets, you build up this wealth. How do you protect it? And then this is where your will, your trust, your estate planning comes into play, because you don't want to work for 10, 20 years building up all these assets and then not have them go where you want them to go. That's when we talk about generational wealth. So that's the process we take our clients and our students through. And you don't have to do them in the exact same order, because depending upon where you are in life, you may have different priorities. For some people, they may be good with the first 2 or 3, but now they need to put the estate plan together because they're a little bit older, they've got children or grandchildren, and they want to protect it. They may be a business owner. Or you may sit down and you may be investing already, but you have no protection. So it just depends on the individual. So that's the 7 money milestones.
Okay. Well, and then those are things, especially with the insurance. They have UILs and stuff out there now, which basically puts the retirement program
IULs
in your hand. And that's a very powerful tool. Not everybody can use them because it relates to your certain generation. maybe a little bit difficult to get in it if you're a little later on in the game to get the full benefits of it.
Right.
But yeah, those are the things that now are taking the, I'm not going to say taking the places, but they're surely more useful than in many cases some of the 401k programs with that particular insurance policy. You can use it now and later. So let me ask you a question. Something that many people has asked the question about and have heard before, the rule of 72. How do people use the rule of 72? What's that all about?
So the rule of 72 will tell you how long it will take your money to double. And so you have to think about, so I brought up the bank example for a little while ago, and you think about if you take the interest rate of any vehicle that you're using to grow your money. So it could be the bank, the stock market, whatever it may be. If you take that interest rate, let's just say the interest rate is 1%. One goes into 72 times. So that tells you it will take your money 72 years to double. So if you have $1 and you're getting 1%, it will take 72 years for your $1 to turn into $2. Now, do we have 72 years to wait for that?
Do not.
Now, imagine what the bank is paying you. They're not paying you 1%.
Mm-hmm.
They're paying you 0.001 or 0.002, or maybe a third. You'll even see today, because of what's going on in the country, where some CDs are giving you 5%, or some high yield savings accounts that are giving you 4 or 5%. But that's going to change. But if you don't understand that, you're just putting your money in the bank because it's safe. And they're giving that 1/10 of a percent or 1/4 of a percent or 1/3 of a percent. But there are places where you can get 5, 7, 9, 12. But you have to keep in mind, the higher the interest rate, the higher the risk. So you have to be willing to accept the fact that if I put my money in this vehicle that's going to give me 12% potentially, it could also take away 30%. You have to understand that. So there are different vehicles that could get you different percentages. So you want your money in several different buckets.
Yeah.
So sometimes at 12%, you may be willing to lose that because you've got these other vehicles set up that are safe and protected, or they have different purposes.
So, I mean, the thing about it is it's good that you explained it, but the thing it talks about is doubling your money. Why is doubling your money the issue here? And I think many people don't understand that this is just an example as to how money grows based on your interest rate that you have. And I think a lot of people think that the rule of 72 is the be all end all of the program. It's like, let's do the rule of 72. No, it's just an example of, as you said, knowing the differences between the interest rates and knowing the value of how money matures or how it grows based on the interest rate, and knowing that many of us don't have 72 years to live, more from the time we hear about this. Unless you're about 8 years old when you hear about this, you really don't have 72 years to do this. So the object here is to get that interest rate a little bit higher, with an addition to putting more funds in it, not just putting $1 in there, and allowing the next word that I'm going to talk to you about, and that is compounding interest. How that then rolls into how you can use that concept to allow compounding interest to work.
Right. So right now there are it's about $13 trillion that's sitting in your banks. And so those people who feel that it's safe because they know where it is, they can go access it whenever they want, or because they're not educated about the different places they can put their funds. And I think it's more of the time value of money. So the sooner you start saving. So for example, my son is 7, my daughter is 1.5. So the sooner I set up programs for them, they have more time for those dollars to double, triple, quadruple, 10x.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key right there. But then also think about, one of my mentors says that he wants his money to get pregnant and have as many babies as possible. So simple interest is, all you're doing is gaining regular interest. So let's just say, for example, if I have $10,000 and I'm getting 5%, so 5% of 10,000 is how much?
5%, 10,500.
So after my term, whether it's a year, I get $500. The next year it starts over from 10,000. But if it's compound interest, it's going to be the 10,000 plus that 500, and then I got another 5% on top of that. So it's interest earning interest. It's your money making money for you. So we think if we incorporate compound interest within also the time value of money, now we're winning twice because we started early and we're using a vehicle that is compound interest versus simple interest. But see, if we're never taught these things, we're not going to participate in the game. We just put our money in the bank and do nothing else with it.
Speaking of never being taught, and I might be jumping the line, Juan. So if this is coming later, then we can wait till later. But
no, hit it.
Speaking of learning, right? some great information for those of you who are listening, watching now or watching the replay. You've already gotten some great information that is crucial, right? So let's say there's a listener who's my age. I'm 52. So let's say there's a listener who's 52 who has always kind of grown up under this system of, I'm going to put my stuff in the bank and that's where it's supposed to go. That's what my dad did. That's what my grandfather did. And now I'm listening to Mr. Rayford and he's opening my eyes to some things. But clearly at 52, unless medicine gets phenomenal, I probably don't got another 72 on top of that, right? What would you say to the 50-year-old who is like, man, this is an eye-opener. I want to make things better from this moment on, and I got some kids and grandkids that I want to look after. What would their first move be?
That's a tough one because it's an individual situation.
Okay.
But if it's someone who's 50, I mean, we really have to think about the next 25 years for that person first and foremost.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we start to think about like long-term care.
Okay.
Also thinking about what assets does that person already have and how do we protect them and how do we ensure that those assets can then transfer to the next generation. So you mentioned kids and grandkids. Mm-hmm. But then also, if you think about millionaires today, I mean, today is a different world. We're not in the industrial age anymore. You can become an entrepreneur. So really it's identifying how can that person increase their cash flow? What are some things that person can do to increase their cash flow? Because by increasing that cash flow, those dollars can then be used to fund other things. So I'm sure they have a 9-to-5 more than likely, right? But then increasing that cash flow, I mean, it could be $500 a month, it could be $1,000, it could be $5,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Those funds could be used to put a plan together where it's to build wealth over the next 10, 15, 20 years, and just putting a very strategic plan together, but then also making sure that person is not going to be a burden to anybody as he enters the next stage of his life. Mm-hmm. That's what I would look at.
Okay.
That's very interesting. We had Bertha on that she was talking about retiring at 65, and she was talking about retiring rich, and she was getting ready to retire, and she realized that she was not prepared for retirement. And so when you start talking about increasing cash flow, she realized that it wasn't time for her to retire. So she had to then get back into the game a little bit and say, okay, what am I going to do? So that information that you're referring to, it's not that it's unavailable to the later generation. It just means that the sacrifice is greater. Yeah. At the older you are in this game, because you're really going to have to do some real tightening of the belt and really begin to apply, because there is no substitute for cash flow. You got to have it to get in the game. Mm-hmm. And so that means that you're going to have to tighten up a little bit more what that time thing gives you as a young person, or as a late, you get to times to make some mistakes, but at the same time, you also have that thing where he's talking about on your side. So, but when you get older, that time is not on you. And I say this a lot as it relates to time. You know, we don't get no do-overs. You don't get a chance to go back and say, let's try it again. And that's why the power of education and why we do what we do here at Clear Journey is to educate you as soon as possible. It's never too soon to be educated in any area, especially finances. When you talk about compounding interest and how it can double your money if you got time, but you can't get it back. So what I'm saying is now tighten it up. It's not that it can't be done. Find the resources, find the, sacrifice some of those lattes, some of those eating out, some of the, you got to tighten it up. There's no, what's more important, what it is you want to leave for your nephew, for your grandchildren and your children, and the knowledge. And I'm gonna tell you, this is the biggest thing, is the knowledge. Yeah. If you can share them the knowledge and say, okay, maybe I ain't got no money for you, but start now, children. Start putting it away. That is a powerful tool, and we have access to it. No matter when we get it, we can share it. Yeah. Okay.
And I'll respond to that, because there's a flip side to that as well. Because most people don't want to tighten up. Mm-hmm. They want the Starbucks, they want whatever it is. But if you think about the bigger picture, what do you want in life? Because if you do want, whether it's retiring, comfortably with, $20,000 a month in income, whatever it may be, if that's what you want, now you need to figure out how you're going to get that. Because if you don't want to tighten your belt, then you need to start using your brain to figure out, how am I going to produce this additional income? Mm-hmm. And that's where becoming an entrepreneur comes into play. So really, what skills do I have that can now be income producing assets? So do I go into the real estate game? I don't know. Do I start a YouTube channel? I don't know. But what skills do I have that I'm not currently using that produces income? Mm-hmm. And so that's where we have to sit down and say, well, I love Starbucks. Okay, so I'm not going to give that up. But I do have this skill that I haven't been using to my fullest extent. Can I earn income from that skill? If I can, then let me figure out, how do I start doing that? I need to create a business on some platform. I need to create a business where I can generate income. Mm-hmm. And so that's that's what we're doing now. Like, I can teach you the education, but you can also join our campaign, become a licensed professional, get your necessary licenses. We're in a highly regulated industry. So again, you could watch Instagram or YouTube and listen to people who will give you a lot of financial advice, but you need to understand, are they licensed? Are they professionals? Are they in a regulated industry? Because they could share what they're doing personally. Mm-hmm. But you'll hear the disclaimers. I am not a financial advisor. I'm not a planner, because they're doing what they do in their life. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be sued. So you want to make sure that person is credentialed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you could join our campaign if you love to teach, if you love the crusade, if you feel the passion, because the money's not always going to come, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of people, if the money's not there, they stop doing what it is. But if you love teaching people and love this crusade, you can join us and at some point turn this into a business. Mm-hmm. And right now we're in a place where there are 10,000 people a day turning 65, getting ready to retire. And at the same point, those financial professionals who are working with the baby boomers are getting ready to retire too. So there's going to be a shortage of financial professionals within the next 10 years. So we're looking for people to join our crusade. We're looking for people to get licensed and get credentialed and do what we're doing. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good. That's a great twofold message that you just gave. One is you can't listen to everybody. And if you are part of the TikTok generation, you know that once you watch 3 financial videos, That's all you're going to see in your algorithm. So now you are inundated with folk giving you advice, and you might watch 100 videos and get 76 pieces of advice that are different. And so it is important that you are getting this education from somebody who is licensed, from somebody who is a professional in the space, not from somebody who is guessing, not from somebody who thinks this is what you should do, not even from somebody who's actually doing it. Because like you just said to me, when I asked the question, you said that that's going to be relative to the person. So I might watch another 50-year-old saying, "Hey, I'm doing this, and this," and I go do that, and now I got to go back and find Michael because I done put myself in a hole. You know what I mean? So now
Yep.
I'm like, Michael, can you save me? So it's important that you're doing that. That's one part of the message. The other part, I love that you said this. Hey, there's going to be an opportunity for you if you are interested in helping others do this and being a blessing to others by giving them this information. There's going to be an opportunity for you to create a business doing this as well. So that's
Absolutely.
awesome.
And I know earlier you were talking about the event you went to where the college students were being recognized.
Mhm.
And there's a piece where I'm a certified college consultant as well. So we have a nonprofit and so this is where I get so torn, because I was an adjunct before, and it's like, okay, do I help? So college is a great platform if you do it the right way. Like, you can't go off because this is what my friends are doing, or this is where my parents went.
Mhm.
If you can strategically prepare yourself for college way before college. So there are things that you can do when you are younger to prepare yourself to get grants and scholarships that you don't have to pay back, where the schools are going after you because of what you have to offer.
Mhm.
Colleges have what are called endowment funds, and they're looking for qualified students. And it's not about your GPA or your SAT, but are you volunteering? How long have you been doing that? Are you doing community service? How are you giving back? Are you tutoring the younger students in your community? Are you in entrepreneurship programs? Are you in leadership programs? What are you doing that's going to make me want to give you some of my money?
Mhm.
Those are the students who go to college for free. They don't
Mhm.
graduate with student loan debt.
Mm.
That's good
So,
information.
yeah,
Yes, it
so we
is.
have a nonprofit where we do college coaching. Every kid deserves a college coach, and the college coach prepares them for that.
Mhm.
They help them with the FAFSA. Like, I don't know the percentage, but most parents, I'm a college educated parent. I went to college. I know how to fill out the FAFSA.
Mhm.
Well, the FAFSA changes.
Mhm.
Is this what you do? And a lot of people fill it out wrong, and they disqualify their student from getting all this grant and scholarship money. So that's a side to it as well. So we prepare our kids on the front end. They could get some of that college money. So just like if you were an athlete, the school is giving you a free education. If you are the right type of student, you market yourself the right way, you can go to school for free too.
We're gonna have to have you back on our career development when we
Absolutely.
get onto that part, because
That's good.
that's information there that I think we need to share that in and of itself, by itself, given its own place. Let me just, before we get started, there's one other thing that I wanted to share. I wanted to get out of you, and that was the 4 threats to wealth building. What are the 4 threats to wealth building that we need to be considered? We need to be mindful of as those things that will prevent us from being able to build wealth.
The first one is probably the most difficult. It's procrastination. We
Mhm.
put off, we put off, we put off, and we put off. I mean, it's one thing to just be comfortable all the time, right? We don't want to stretch. We don't want to be challenged. We don't want to change our habits and behaviors. So procrastination, where, I'm good. I can pay my bills. I'm okay. I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it next month, or I'll wait till I get my tax return in a couple of days. Whatever it may be, we put off, we put off. The next would be inflation. So how I talked about the $13 trillion that's in the bank right now,
Mhm.
those individuals, they may not feel themselves losing money, but they are, because, as their money's sitting there earning that 0.25%, the price of everything they use every day is going up. So they're losing
Mhm.
money. Next, we think about losses. So if you think about 2000, 2008, what happened in those 2 years?
Yeah, this is called a financial crisis.
Financial crisis, the housing market. Um, and this is a really good one here because, you know, those who work for companies where they have a 401k typically don't know what they're invested in.
Mhm.
And they think a 401k is the end all be all. However, you're in the market in a 401k.
Mm-hmm.
Just like your money can go up, your money can go down in a drop of a hat. And in the financial crisis, those individuals lost money overnight. And it's going to take you multiple years to make that back if you make it back at all. So procrastination, inflation, losses, and then taxes.
Mhm.
And so this is where those who work a 9 to 5, I work a 9 to 5, but I also do this as well because I'm trying to transition myself as well. But those who work a 9 to 5, you're a W-2 employee, you pay the highest amount of taxes.
Mhm.
Right? You're not creating an opportunity to help other people earn income. So the government will give entrepreneurs the biggest tax breaks because they're providing an opportunity for other people to earn wages. And so if you're not buying real estate, if you're not investing, if you're not doing those things to get you out of that W-2 mind frame, you're going to pay the most taxes.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting how you put all of those into play because they all carry different ways of pulling away from your ability to not even to gain but to maintain wealth after getting it. And as you said, the first one was procrastination, because right there in and of itself, the longer it takes you to get an understanding and to act on that which you understand, it's going to be one of those things we talked about earlier. You can't get that time back. You cannot get it back. And so there is no sooner time than the present. Now is the time.
Mhm.
Okay. It is not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but now is the time.
Yep.
It's going to affect not only you, but what it is that you desire to do for the next generation. It's going to impact it.
Absolutely.
So you knew that was going to be my soapbox. Okay. So you knew that was going to be the case, because again, we talk about mindset here at Clear Journey, and we talk about it in the sense that as it relates to finances, we talk about being sacrifice, responsibility, and discipline.
Mhm.
These are the mindsets that we need to be able to manage, to gain wealth, to manage it, and to also provide that type of legacy to the next generation. It's required. We've got to be willing to do these, have this kind of mindset. And so, that being said, and is there anything else you'd like to leave and add before we close up the show tonight?
So I know you showed the first book, How Money Works, Stop Being a Sucker. This is our second book, How Money Works for Women, Take Control or Lose It. Just a very important stat. 80% of women will die a widow.
You ain't got to tell that. You ain't got to say that. You ain't got to say that.
Because men die first.
That. Yeah, you ain't got to say that backwards like that.
So it's really important that we get women involved in this industry. By the year 2030, women will control $30 trillion worth of financial assets. So whether it's a widow who has been left with all this money from her husband, whether from life insurance, investments, whatever the case may be, or if it's a woman in the financial industry, they will control $30 trillion worth of financial assets. So that's number one. Number two, we just had a new ebook come out. So now, where you don't have to wait for me to mail this to you, I could just text you a link and you have 3 versions of an ebook. So that's pretty exciting. And then, it's April, it's Financial Literacy Month. So what better time to take action than this month to start on that new journey to financial independence?
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
Absolutely. So wait a minute. Now, not only that though, how can people get in touch with you if they want to learn more about how money works?
So I'm I'm on Instagram at michaelrayfordmedia.com, at Michael Rayford Media. My website, I have a couple of them, but the best one is howmoneyworks.com/Michael-Rayford. That's Rayford. I'm on LinkedIn as well, Facebook, but Michael Rayford. I mean, there's just one. There are several. I shouldn't say several. There are a few Michael Rayford. Thank you, sir. When you go on Facebook and Instagram, there are a couple Michael Rayfords, but I mean, I'm the only one. Right? I'm the one. I'm in my world. I'm the one that counts. But you got my website right there, so I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you guys and also share this wonderful information.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for this. Those of you who are watching and watching the replay, for the last several weeks, you have just been inundated with so much information, so much game. If you don't do anything with this, you can't blame us because it's here and you can watch the replays. And today is no different. Thank you, Michael, for coming.
It's Michael-Rayford.
Michael-Rayford.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and change that real quick. But thank you for being here and for your willingness to share. It's so important that we are getting this information and not just getting it, but executing. And so today's no different. You got great information. It's time to execute, folks. It's time for us to begin to look at where we are, look at where we want to be, and look at where we want our family to be, and reverse engineer and create the steps and do this. And let's get this right. And let's share this with as many people as possible, because it's not something you want to keep to yourself. I don't just want my family to be right. I want other families to be right as well. And so be willing to share this for the betterment of humanity. So we appreciate you, man.
I appreciate you too, brothers, man. Y'all be blessed.
Hey, don't go anywhere. We want to see you in a little while, but we want to close up the show, but we'll be right with you in a minute. All right. Don't go nowhere.
All right.
Thank you very much for being with us today.
There's a website at the bottom of the screen, folks. Make sure that you connect with Michael. You need this information, and you need this information. So go ahead and get it. How about that?
Hey, this information is going to be priceless. And for the this information will serve us 100 years from now. 100 years from now. So here's the thing. It doesn't change, guys. We're in a space and time where we get an opportunity to participate in this thing, but it's going to be, this is how it works. And, granted, the tools might change a little bit, but the opportunity is for us right now. Do now what we know to do. We've been talking about this for many months.
Yep.
If there's other information that you want, we're going to be able to share it with you. I mean, last week we talked about various tools that you could use, but this is all about taking control of your finances. That's what this is all about. It's not about, we have something or somebody has something that we don't have. No, you get the opportunity to take control of your finances for yourself. And all we're here to do is to help you on that journey. Again, making that journey clear for you to be your very best.
Yep. Good stuff.
Just a reminder, if you want to know more about me or what Clear Journey is doing, just go over to clearjourney.org. But before we go, Oliver, let the people know how they can get in touch with you.
Indeed. If you want to get in touch with me, my social media handle is right there on the screen, Denali LLC. That's everywhere. If you look at us everywhere, you will find us. And if you're wondering why you would want to look for us everywhere and find us, it's because as an author, speaker, and coach, I'm passionate about seeing relationships thrive, both personally and professionally. And that's what I do. And I want to see you win in every area of life. Author of the book, Overcoming the Man Laws for the Man Who Wants to Be His Best, despite what he was taught. If you want to build and maintain the relationship of your dreams, both personally and professionally, I'm your guy. So let's have a conversation. If you're an email person, you can email me at the email that's on your screen right now. Looking forward to connecting with you.
All righty. And by the way, I'm Juan Lee. I'm the founder of Clear Journey, but I'm also the speaker. I'm an author and I'm a coach, and I'm going to be putting out my first coaching program here probably in the next few weeks. Well, let's not say weeks, we'll say months, a couple months, because I got to finish it up. We're going to put some things out, but we're going to be talking about the attitudes that make up Clear Journey, and also giving us the mindset to be successful. So if you want to get in touch with me, you can catch me at info@clearjourney.org, where I will be there anywhere on there. And if you want to learn more about Clear Journey, go there. The information is there. And by all means, register for our webinar that's coming up. It is talked about protecting your finances. We've been building up to this webinar so that you might be able to protect your finances. So we look forward to you doing that. Oh, and by the way, I also am an author. So my book, if you purchase my book is Amazon. You can get it. It's called Love Made Simple. That's the foundation of our organization, Clear Journey, because it talks about the various attitudes that we want to instill in us, in our community, so that you might be able to be very, very successful. And it's also on Audible. We can, any way you want to read it, listen to it, we've got it there for you. So in any type of support will help us. If you want to donate to us, by all means, go to clearjourney.org. Support us. We're here for you, and we want to be able to provide as much service. In the months to come, you will be seeing more guests on Clear Journey. We are working on our guests to be on a regular basis concerning and about all of our 8 areas that we talk about: relationships, finances, career development, health and wellness, self-improvement, organization, recreation, and humanity. We're going to learn how to interact with one another, how we can better engage one another so that we can all be successful. So by all means, look out for what's coming up. We're very excited about what's happening here, and we're going to be here every Wednesday night, here to help you navigate life more successful, a clear journey. Anything else, Oliver?
That's it. We're good.
All righty then. And as it always, then we can't change life, but we can help you navigate it. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Later.